Well, howdy friggin' doody, I'm Chris from TechSpert, and today we're reviewing Sony's fresh new Pulse Explore wireless earbuds. They're designed to be used with both the PS5 and the PS Portal, full Bluetooth compatibility as well, and they'll cost you 199 GBPs. Or $199 if you live stateside, gotta love that conversion rate. Now, I've had the Sony Pulse Explore buds stuffed inside of my head for the best part of a month now, so here's my in-depth review. And for more on the latest and greatest tech, please do poke subscribe and ding that notifications bell. Cheers! Now first up, we've got to address the elephant in the room, or rather the elephant-sized earbuds case. I've been reviewing Bluetooth buds for years now, and this is comfortably one of the biggest cases I've ever fondled. It just about squeezes into my jeans pocket, but also gives my prostate a thorough bloody good poking. And that obviously doesn't matter at all if you're just planning on using the Pulse Explore at home with your PlayStation, but if you are going to take them out and about, it would have been nice to have something a bit more compact. But apart from the size of this thing, I do really like the design, especially that sliding element, which is pretty f***ing cool, you've got to admit. And that's pretty smart design as well, because say you fumble and drop the earbuds case, well, it doesn't immediately spring open and spill out your earbuds so they end up lodged under the sofa or inside the cat or something. And of course those curves and colours match the general aesthetics of the PS5. However, the box does get pronged up rather easily. As you can see, I've already got some scratches on there. That's just from a month of use. And I've been pretty careful with these things overall as well. And as for the buds themselves, well, they once again sport that unique Sony design. There aren't any other earbuds, certainly that I've tested, that look quite like these, but they are, unfortunately, like the case, absolutely freaking enormous. And I've got to admit, even a full month on, I'm still not entirely convinced I'm stuffing them inside of my head in quite the right way. I always spend lots of time just fiddling about with them, just making sure that they are actually securely stuffed in there, so they don't go flying out if I, cough or turn my head a little bit too enthusiastically. That said though, I've got to admit the Sony Pulse Explore earbuds are more comfortable to wear than I expected. I certainly thought they'd be a lot heavier given the size of these things, but they jut out a bit, they haven't got any kind of ear hook support or anything. So I figured, maybe half an hour or so and I'd start to be suffering from ear fatigue, but actually you can be gaming with these things lodged in you for a good couple of hours before you finally think, maybe I should take a break. That situation certainly helped by the fact that Sony has bundled several different sizes of silicone ear tip in there, so you can figure out which ones fit your lugs the best. Now, in order to connect the Sony Pulse Explore earbuds to your PlayStation 5, well, unfortunately, it's not just a case of pressing a button and the two are hooked up. You do get a wee dongly thing bundled in the box with the Pulse Explore buds. You need to actually chuck this into the PS5 before they can hook up. That's because these earbuds use Sony's fresh new Link technology rather than, just the usual bog standard Bluetooth or whatever. And yeah, it's kind of a pain in the ass having to have that dongle bunged in your PS5 at all times, because that's yet another USB port used up. Especially irritating if you've got other peripherals like the PSVR 2. Thankfully, besides inserting the dongle, the connection process is nice and simple, and if you've got a PlayStation Portal, you don't need to worry about chucking a dongle in this thing. Just push the pairing button up here on the top edge of the PlayStation Portal as well as on the earbuds case, and they'll pair up instantly. Well, the good news is that the Pulse Explore do also support Bluetooth connections. Just got to hold that pairing button down for 7 or 8 seconds until that LED starts flashing blue. And you can then pair them up with your smartphone or whatever else. And they played really nicely with every Android smartphone I've tested them with, no issues at all with the connectivity. Besides one phone, an Honor branded smartphone, where the connection was always just a juddery, horrible mess. Thankfully, it was just that one phone and everything else has been absolutely fine. And no complaints at all with the connection when using Sony's Link tech with the PS5 or with the PlayStation Portal. You can expect zero latency, which is of course essential when you're playing games like Thumper, for instance. Of course, any kind of competitive multiplayer shenanigans. And I really like how you can be connected to 2 devices at once simultaneously via Bluetooth and Link. So for instance, you can be kicking back with a casual chill out game on your PlayStation while listening to a podcast or some music streaming via your phone. Or you could be blasted through a game on the PlayStation but also connected to your phone just in case the boss rings and says, why the f hasn't your annual report been submitted? Now you do also have built-in controls here on the Sony Pulse Explore. They're not touch controls like most earbuds, they are actual physical buttons. You've got a volume rocker up top on both the left and the right bud. And then if you flip around to the bottom edge, there's a pairing button there. Now, of course, you shouldn't have to touch the pairing button too often. As for those volume buttons, well, they only work when you're connected to your PS5, your PS Portal or whatever via Link. They do not work when you're connected to your phone via Bluetooth, which is a major ball ache, as is the lack of a pause button when you're listening to a podcast, somebody comes up and starts banging on at you, you're like, oh, hang on, I'm gonna get my bloody phone out of my pocket now. And frankly, it's an absolute pain in the arsehole region, and it's something that I just haven't got used to over the past month, because pretty much every single other true wireless earbuds has pause, play, touch controls. As for the sound quality, well, Sony has stuffed some planar magnetic drivers inside of here, and they boast of enhanced bass action. Some tech reviewers who I've been talking with who've also been testing these buds out reckon that the bass has been a bit flat for them, but I've got no qualms with it whatsoever. I think it's fairly punchy down in the low section. The sound quality overall in general is good. And certainly the soundtracks in games like God of War and Thumper and Spider-Man sound absolutely fantastic for these things. Really builds the atmosphere, the sense of immersion, and the surround sound ability is really strong as well, which again is ideal for when you're playing multiplayer fare. Don't get some sneaky sod creeping up on you. Unfortunately, sound quality not quite so good over Bluetooth. When I've been hooked up to most of my smartphones, it's just been using the bog standard AAC codec, but still sounds good. Unfortunately, there is sod all active noise cancellation here on the Sony Pulse Explores. We are literally talking noise cancellation via isolation because you've got stuff wedged into your ears, helping to block out any surrounding sound. It's absolutely fine again if you're just, doing a bit of gaming at home, your PS5, whatever. Even with the volume just turned up moderately, you won't hear anything else going on all around you. But if you are out and about in the high street using them, again, connected to your phone via Bluetooth, that's where you start to get some problems. If you're trying to listen to a podcast where things are a bit more quiet and you've got cars gushing by, or you're sat on a tube or something like that, it doesn't really do much to drown out all of that irritating noise. I am highly impressed, however, with the dual integrated mics here on the Pulse Explore buds. So if you're trying to do a bit of group chat action in a fairly noisy room with kids screaming and things like that, well, these buds don't boast noise cancellation technology, they boast noise rejection technology. That noise is just straight up rejected, and yeah, it basically is. Even when there was plenty of background bollocks going on, apparently my voice came through loud and clear. At any point, if you want to mute yourself, you can just hit the mic mute button here on the controller, and that will mute the mics built into the buds as well. So a bit of a mixed bag so far from the Sony Pulse Explore. One of the biggest weaknesses, certainly compared with other true wireless earbuds, is the battery life, because you only get about 5 hours of streaming goodness from these things before they need to be stuffed back inside of that case and recharged. If you're gaming with these things, that's no biggie, because to be fair, I wouldn't want to wear these for 5 straight hours anyway. My ears would be absolutely screaming after that amount of time. But yeah, certainly if you're using them on the go with your PlayStation Portal or something like that, just bear in mind that the case itself will only recharge these things about 2-3 times in full before that will also need a recharge. And it's just another reason why if you are looking for a pair of buds to be using on the go with your smartphone, you should definitely look elsewhere. Oh, and there's one final grumble as well, which is really going to please all the Sony fanboys. The actual case itself has to be charged via USB as well. There's no wireless charge in here, which is a shame considering the cost of these things. That's the kind of feature I would certainly expect to find. So anywho, there you have it, my lovelies. That's my full final frank review of the Sony Pulse Explore wireless earbuds after using them for about a month or so. And I gotta say, they work really, really well with the PlayStation Portal, with the PS5. The sound quality is fantastic. That connection has just been flawless for me. I adore the fact that you can do dual streaming via link and also via Bluetooth at the same time. But there are quite a few cons here as well. As a pair of Bluetooth wireless earbuds hooked up to your phone, they are subpar compared with even stuff that's like half the price. And speaking of price, 199 quid, I would definitely wait for a sale. Anyhow, that's what I reckon. What about you lovely lot at home? If you've been testing out the Sony Pulse Explores yourself, definitely please let us know how you've been getting on down below, because it seems like everyone is having very vastly different experiences with these things. So yeah, please do leave your own mini review. Please do poke subscribe, ding that notifications bell, tell all your friends, yada yada yada, and have a bloody wonderful rest of the week. Cheers everyone, love you.